Thank you so much for joining me and my dear friend Jayne Havens. So Jayne is joining us from the Center of Pediatric Sleep Management, and today we're going to be talking all about adding sleep consulting to your doula business, which is just like a side passion of mine. I love it for so many reasons, and we'll dive into all of that. But I just think we can solve all the world's problems by getting everyone more sleep. I really mean that. Sleep fixes everything for parents, especially mood, health, everything, mental health. So in my 14-year doula career, I've always been passionate about teaching my families, my clients about safe sleep, good sleep, how to get more sleep, all the things. And they love me for it. And people need sleep. So I think training and learning everything you can about sleep, and that is just a no-brainer for a doula. And then it's having sleep consulting services that you're baking in with your doula clients. And then it's a great way to add income for not a lot of expensive energy in between your doula clients and your doula contracts. So we're going to talk about all of that today. So I'm just going to turn it over to you, Jayne, and tell us how long you've been a sleep consultant and all the things.
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to chat with your people today. Everybody that comes from your universe is always just like, your people are my people. I'm very happy to be speaking with everybody who's here today. I am Jayne Havens. I'm the owner and founder of Center for Pediatric Sleep Management. I've been supporting parents virtually. My entire business is virtual through the process of establishing healthy and independent sleep hygiene for children. I've been doing this now for 12 years. I've been supporting families. I started training others to become sleep consultants back in 2019 is when I launched Center for Pediatric Sleep Management. And as of today, I think we have 818 students and grads inside of our community. So it's a pretty robust student body that we have. We have people from all walks of life, but I would say probably half of our student population is made up of postpartum professionals, postpartum doulas, newborn care specialists. And I really believe that there's such a beautiful, perfect symbiotic relationship between the work that you all do as postpartum support caregivers and the work that we do as sleep consultants. I think the work overlaps, and I find great joy in supporting people like you through the process of growing your doula businesses and expanding into different areas of support, specifically virtual support. A lot of doulas come to me because they are tired, they're burnt out, they're exhausted, their own health is suffering, and I love to help them transition from overnight support to consulting, which can be done during the day. I
Yeah.
personally sleep through the night. I would love to help all of you do some of that yourself. There's a little piece of something on my computer that's distracting me. Okay, so that's me. Yeah, so Darcy, what questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's start with one of the things that intrigues me the most about this is like coming from a marketing background and a business background to being a doula, I was like, this is nuts that I get a client, they have a baby, they hire me to be their postpartum doula, they love me. I finish up my 3-month contract, and then I can't work with them again, even though they love me and singing my praises, until they have another baby. Like, so sometimes you're waiting 2 years. It's not like other businesses where you're working with people over and over again, but with sleep consulting, you can and I always say that you finish up a contract whether you're a birth doula or postpartum doula, that baby hits the 4-month sleep regression, you're the first call as the doula because you're the trusted source. Being able to offer them like a 1-hour consultation or a 2-week, maybe not at 4 months, you'd do a 2-week, but who knows? I don't know. But it's a way to continue to work with your favorite clients and their friends all over the world. That's the other thing with doula work, you're so limited by who's in your town. But doulas, raise your hand if you've had a client that's, oh, I wish I could just send you to my friend in 5 states away. So let's just start with like how it works and then we'll get into what everything else. But like how does it work when someone hires you to help them with their 3-year-old's sleep
Yeah.
trouble?
So great point. I support parents who have infants all the way up through, I would say, early elementary age kiddos. I actually just wrapped up with a 5 and a 7-year-old in the same household. So I'm working with 5-month-olds and I'm working with 5-year-olds. And as Darcy said, the beautiful thing about the work that we do is that we can support families over and over again. Of course, I love to work myself out of a job. I consider myself to be successful when they don't need me anymore. But I do have families that I've worked with them when their baby was 4 months old. I work with them again when the child is 2 and climbing out of the crib. I work with them again when they have a new baby. There's definitely opportunities to work with the same families over and over again. To give you a rundown of what it looks like for me to run a client through my process as a virtual sleep consultant. And this is what I teach inside of Center for Pediatric Sleep Management. It all starts with a discovery call. I get onto a phone call with the family for 15 or 20 minutes and learn about their unique set of circumstances, what they're struggling with. I articulate my value and let them know that I can help them and that it doesn't have to be so hard. Assuming they hire me, they fill out an online questionnaire where I learn all about their child, and anything that I didn't pick up on the discovery call is covered in this questionnaire. And then basically, I write them a written sleep plan, which again, you'll learn how to do inside of our program. And once they get that written program, the written piece includes an age appropriate daytime schedule, a bedtime routine, options for sleep training. For older children, it includes communication strategies and role playing techniques. And then we get onto a phone call, go over the plan, answer the family's questions, make sure they feel comfortable with the strategies outlined. And then I support them largely through text message and voice notes for 2 weeks. And then we do a wrap up call at the end. I call this my success call because by the end of our 2 weeks, we have had great success. And we basically get back on the phone to just revel in the progress that we've made together. And I answer any of their questions that they have for down the road. For example, if I work with a little 5-month-old baby that's on 3 naps, they want to know, when do we transition to 2 naps? Or what do we do if our baby gets an ear infection? Or we're headed to Rehoboth Beach next month. What should we do about room sharing while we're in the hotel? So I answer all of those questions, leave them hopefully in a really great place, send them on their way, and of course, encourage them to share my name with their friends and family. And then it's on to the next. That's basically what it looks like. The beautiful thing about consulting is that you really get to run your business in a way that works for you. You know, what I do doesn't have to be what you do necessarily, but it's what works for me. And the beautiful thing about the work that I do is that it can be done from anywhere. I literally just landed a brand new client from 36,000 feet. I was on an airplane a couple days ago, headed back to the States. I was in Italy for 9 days, and somebody emailed me through my website, and I was texting with her to help her understand what I could do to help her. Landed the client in the air, started supporting her as soon as we got back to town. My clients live all over the country. I'm again in Baltimore, Maryland, but my clients are in New York and New Jersey and Connecticut and the UK and France. They're literally all over the place. And as Darcy said, like, somebody might say to me, like, oh, my college roommate who lives in Arizona could really use your help. And I can help them because all of my work is virtual.
And I have to bring the marketing thing into it. It's not like you have some huge marketing machine that you're spending hours and like you're mostly word of mouth.
Totally. When I first started my business, I definitely spent time hustling in Facebook groups
Yeah.
and connecting with other parenting professionals. A lot of my business came to me by way of like my kid's preschool director or a family photographer that I am friendly with, or my college roommate is an occupational therapist. So she would refer business to me. So I definitely spent time building a name for myself in the beginning, but now I would say that literally 100% of my business is word of mouth. Every single day, I get a phone call, an email, a text from somebody who got my name from their friend. And I find that when you get your client, I'm sure it's similar with doula work, when you are supporting families that are really high level and you're making them feel safe and comfortable and you're helping them to reach their parenting goals, it's a no-brainer. They're going to scream your name from the rooftops.
But I think that is true in doula work, but I think it like goes double for sleep. If you go, and I've seen it with my clients, if you go from complete sleep deprivation to your kids sleeping longer stretches and you're as a parent are sleeping longer, you shout it from the rooftops and you like want all your other sleep deprived mom friends to know. Anyway, I have to add that in. This isn't like something that comes with having to do the huge marketing push or anything like that. Any questions that you all have, please put them in the chat. But let's talk about what kind of education and training exists within your program. So if a doula joins your Center for Pediatric Sleep Management, like what are you learning? It's not just one specific cry it out technique. So can you talk about a little bit about your curriculum?
Yeah. So I'm going to come back to cry it out because I know that's a hot
Yes,
topic.
but doulas, and this is one of the reasons why I love your program. The role of the doula is to provide parents with all the if they ask, provide them with all the information, all the evidence, and help them figure out what is best for them and their baby. So same.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing too inside of Center for Pediatric Sleep Management. I practice what I like to call a client-led approach, which means I present my clients with all of the age-appropriate methods or techniques or strategies to teach independent sleep skills to their baby or their child. I present all of the age-appropriate options and I let them decide what feels like the right fit for their child or for their parenting style. And I show up without judgment. I have no agenda other than hoping to make my clients feel safe and comfortable through the process. And I want it to go well. That's it. So we teach all of the methods, all of the techniques. We teach everything from really gradual and parent present strategies all the way through extinction, which is cry it out, and everything in between. I really, again, I have no judgment. It's all safe and effective. And I think, frankly, any program that's not teaching all of it is being short-sighted and inserting their bias into the picture when really it's not about us. I understand that some consultants or coaches are not comfortable with certain methods or techniques, but it's really not about us. It's about our clients. And when we support them in a way that works for them, that's when we really get them the results. In addition to teaching
can I just
yeah.
something? The other thing that's really important about learning everything is that your clients say to you like, oh, here's what we're doing right now. Here's the book we just read. Here's the method we're doing. Like you have to know what that's about.
Yeah. So CPSM actually includes 6 books with the price of the course. You don't have to buy them yourself. They're included. The reason I do this is because they're all the books that the moms are out there reading right now. And I don't want someone to say to you, we're a baby wise family or we're a moms on call family. And for you to say, what's moms on call? I have no idea what that is, right? I want you to know everything that's out there. And I want you to be prepared to support families in a way that works for their parenting style, for their household, for their comfort level. In addition to teaching all of the sleep training techniques, we are an evidence-based comprehensive program. So we're teaching the science of sleep, we're teaching safe sleep practices, we're teaching sleep as it relates to different developmental ages and stages. So what happens at 4 months that could impact sleep? What happens at 8 months that could impact sleep? What happens at 18 months that could impact sleep? We're teaching all of the sleep training techniques, as I mentioned. We're teaching communication strategies. So how are you talking to families so that they understand the value that you provide and they understand how important it is for you to be consistent, to properly coach. You're coaching them so that they can coach their children, right? And verbiage and your communication communication is so important. You're going to learn how to write a written sleep plan so that you can effectively communicate without actually physically being there or having to talk them through it for an hour and a half, but you're going to put together a concise document that they can review, and then they can ask you their handful of questions and then move on seamlessly. What else? Oh, our business section. This is probably I almost forgot. This is probably the reason to enroll in Center for Pediatric Sleep Management is the heavy emphasis that we place on business building and entrepreneurship. What I recognized, and the whole reason for why I created CPSM, is that when I originally was getting into this field, I noticed that most of the sleep consultants that were coming out of other programs were not taught how to find clients or how to they weren't taught how to find clients. They weren't taught how to market themselves. They weren't taught how to position themselves as experts in the field. And this happens to be my favorite part. I think that's why Darcy and I get along so well. We really do prioritize showing up in our businesses day in and day out. And that's what I teach inside of CPSM. So you'll learn sales, marketing, business growth strategy, mindset work. We teach you how to market yourself on social media. We teach you how to market yourself off of social media. Literally, just like we have a client-led approach for our clients, same sort of attitude towards business development. Some people like to grow their businesses using social media. Some people like to make in-person connections. And both options are totally valid and valuable. And we want to make sure that our students understand all of the different creative ways that they can connect with prospective referral partners and clients and really be successful in growing their consulting businesses.
And your program is more than just like an online training. First of all, what's the word? It never ends. Like you have lifetime access, and then you have lifetime access to you because it's not like there's so many trainings where like you never have contact with the instructor. You're in your Facebook group every day supporting.
Yeah. So I'm in it. We are, if you decide to join our CPSM family, literally, I call it a family, you become a part of our community, a part of our vibe. You're there forever. I don't resell to my student population. I just don't believe in it. It's not my business model. So once you're inside of my community, you get continuing education for life. Some of my competitors, like they have a sleep consultant certification program, but then they teach a newborn program separately, or they teach a special needs course separately, or they teach the business portion separately, and you pay for this and that and this and that. And I don't subscribe to that. I want my students to be educated from A to Z. I don't want them to have to like pay for this and this. When we add additional training into our course, you automatically get access to it. My very first student who enrolled in, I think it was November of 2019, she still has access to the curriculum. She still has access to continuing education. We do monthly trainings, usually on Zoom. She can come to those 4 years later or five, whatever, however many years later it is. I can't do the math. 5 years later, she's still being educated inside of our course and our community. We have a Facebook group for students and grads. It is a very active, supportive, collaborative community where you can come to get questions answered, whether it be about your own children or your clients that you're struggling with, or just like business development. We talk about it all. And yes, I'm very present inside of that community. I'm in the group all day long answering questions. And I also have 2 paid admins who are graduates from my program whose job it is to help me answer questions so that nothing goes unanswered. And I always say I'm not the smartest one in the room, believe it or not. Inside of my community, I have pediatricians, I have IBCLCs, I have clinicians, I have parents of special needs kiddos, I have parents of multiples, I have 2 moms of 10 kids. Oh my gosh. There are circumstances that come up in our line of work that I maybe don't have the most experience with. And the beautiful thing about our community is that we have such a diverse and highly educated and creative student body that if I can't answer your question, I'm going to tag the person that can.
Yeah, no games.
That's awesome. And there's another thing I like about your program is that you don't have to recertify, you don't have to pay dues, none of that. It's just in. So This great question just came in. What is there a way to offer add-on sleep support in a seamless way for birth doula clients instead of waiting for sleep problems? Absolutely.
Yeah.
For
Can I address that? Because this is one of my favorite questions. So, absolutely. Some doulas who enroll in CPSM never actually take on virtual clients. I would love for them to, but some of them literally never do. They learn that side of the business because I teach it, but they come into the course. And really, the reason that they want to get this education is because they want to offer a higher level of support and expertise to their clients. And they also want to position themselves as doulas that are like up here instead of here. If you're going on interviews and the family that you are speaking with is speaking to, let's say, 3 doulas, if you are the only certified sleep consultant and you go on that interview and you position yourself as a doula that's going to help them to get their baby to sleep through the night by about 12 or 14 weeks. You're going to get them into a good routine, both day and night. You're going to have them on a schedule, blah, blah, blah. You are going to get that job because you are providing them a solution to their long-term problem. The number one thing that they're worried about is like, how long is the sleep deprivation going to last? And also what's going to happen when you leave, right? So obviously it's super valuable for the family to have your support while you're there. But what happens when your contract is up? Are you leaving them high and dry with a baby that's up every 2 hours? Or are you leaving them with a baby that's sleeping 10 or 12 hours overnight? And if you can position yourself as the doula that's going to leave them with a baby that has confident and healthy sleep hygiene, I promise you, you're going to get the job. You're also going to get a higher hourly rate than what your competitors are charging.
And this person who's asking is a birth doula. But that still all applies. It could be part of your package that you're available the first month. Here's the coolest thing about a virtual business is you can set it up however you want. As a birth doula, your VIP package could include 4 check-ins the first month to talk about sleep or educate, or you come back and you do a sleep education
What you
session.
also can do, as a birth doula, you also could pre-record like a newborn sleep guide where you get yourself on Zoom and I actually have this inside of my business. I offer it to repeat clients for free. If I work with one family and then they hire me again for their new baby, it's like a baby gift that I send to them. And it's a recording of me outlining my top 5 best practices, tips, and tricks for establishing healthy and independent sleep habits for newborns. And I find actually when I give my families, clients, when I give them this newborn presentation, they circle back around when their baby is like 12 or 14 weeks and they're like, okay, we've been putting all of this into place, but now we're ready to work with you for real. It's like a warm up. So as a birth doula, I think giving them some sort of like newborn sleep package would be incredible. And then that would set you up to be the point of contact when sleep really unravels at some point, like 3.5, 4 months. That's when sleep typically unravels. And if they already know that you have this skill, this expertise, they're going to come back to you.
And I think it's such a great add-on service for a birth doula and a postpartum doula, because especially a birth doula, it's so hard to balance like the number of births you need to make enough money to pay your rent and all that. But it's also very hard to go out and get a job because sometimes you have to leave at the drop of a hat. You can do virtual sleep consults anytime, anywhere, when you're not at a birth. And if you have this line of clients that you've helped them with their birth and they know you and love you and call you at 6 months when their baby hits 6 months, it's such a great way to, and fun. Like I love staying in touch with my families. So it's so
One
great.
thing I've noticed is that it's interesting. I see a lot of doulas try to dabble in both birth and postpartum work, and they get into this jam where they're on call for a birth and it makes it really hard to do postpartum support and vice versa. But what's really wonderful is actually sleep works really well with either birth or postpartum doula work, because if you're on call for a birth, you can still be supporting families virtually as a sleep consultant. And if you're working long shifts as a postpartum doula, you also can work virtually as a sleep consultant. So it really does fit in the nooks and the crannies of your gaps of your schedule.
Yeah. And as a postpartum doula, especially overnights, if you're there overnight and you're implementing good sleep strategies and teaching the parents, like, as you mentioned, Jane, you can absolutely raise your hourly rate. Okay, Alba wants to know if you could speak about how much support is included in the program during the training. Is anyone available to answer questions?
Yeah, so I think Alba maybe missed, we already addressed that, but I'll recap that we have a Facebook group for students and grads. I'm in there all day long answering questions. We also have 2 paid admins that answer questions inside of the Facebook group all day long. I didn't mention this before, but when you complete the course, I actually will get onto Zoom with you. I just did one right before this call. I was on a Zoom strategy session with a recent graduate, and basically I gave her 45 minutes of my time to talk about whatever it is that she wanted to talk about. So we mapped out her services, we mapped out her pricing. She was telling me about a pro bono client that she's working with that she's having a little bit of trouble with. I explained to her that she's having trouble because it's a pro bono client and the family's not committed. So we talked through that and how important it is to start taking paying clients. It was a little bit of a pep talk. And so you'll get that call with me. And I pride myself on being accessible to my students. At the end of the day, anybody who graduates from my program is a reflection on me. And I want to make sure that I am cranking out the best and the brightest in the field. And so if I feel like somebody needs my support, they're going to have it, because at the end of the day, my name is attached to yours, right? So I want to make sure that you're doing a good job and that you're supporting families at the highest level. Darcy, is it okay if I address some of these other questions that are in the comments?
Yep, I was just gonna get to that.
Okay, so somebody asked about if the program includes for co-sleeping families. This is a really good question. So I'm not sure if what you really meant is bed sharing, because I think truly the definition now of co-sleeping is more room sharing. And we absolutely support parents who are room sharing. Parents who are bed sharing, we do not teach you how to improve sleep while bed sharing, because we follow the American Academy of Pediatric Safe Sleep Guidelines. I want to make it clear that I am not the bed sharing police. I have no problem with parents making whatever choice they deem is best for themselves. From a liability perspective, I'm personally not interested in taking on that risk in my business as both a coach and an educator. So I follow the American Academy of Pediatric Safe Sleep Guidelines, and we are supporting families who maybe they are bed sharing, but they want to stop bed sharing. So I work with a lot of families who have children in their beds, but the goal is to get the children back into their cribs or their own bed. If you want to support families through the process of improving sleep while continuing to bed share, in order to get a proper education, you're going to need to take more than one course, because the courses that teach the bed sharing and improving sleep are not going to be comprehensive with regard to independent sleep habits, because it's just an entirely different mindset and mentality. And I'm a firm believer in getting a whole bunch of education. I think the more you learn, the more you know. So I am not against that. And you're welcome to get educated in multiple different areas and support all the families that you wish to support. But inside of CPSM, we're not teaching how to continue to bed share and improve sleep, because it conflicts with what the AAP is recommending.
And the question that always comes after this is, what about breastfeeding families that
Oh, I love this question. Yeah, I love this question. So you absolutely can sleep train a breastfed baby. First of all, sleep training and night weaning are not the same thing. So many of our clients continue to breastfeed during the night and have healthy, independent sleepers. So sleep training is literally just putting a baby down awake and having them fall asleep without help. That it's just independent sleep habits. That's it. That doesn't mean that a hungry baby is not fed in the middle of the night. I'm actually working with a 5-month-old right now who's still being fed once in the middle of the night. Mom's not ready to give up that feed. Totally fine. So we work with breastfed babies all the time. A lot of moms who are breastfeeding are nursing hourly or throughout the night. And a lot of those feedings are not really feedings. They're just suckles back to sleep. And that can really weigh on a mom's emotional and physical health. And if a mom is ready to make the change where that's not going on all night long anymore, that, or she doesn't want that to be going on all night long anymore, we are here to support her through the process of making changes. And that doesn't mean that you need to quit feeding cold turkey.
And it also, I just want to really point out that you're not ever sleep training, sleep consulting, like it has such a bad rap sometimes that, oh, if you're sleep training, that means like you're never feeding the baby and it's cry it out. And you're not doing that at all. You are totally educated. Your training, your information is all evidence-based. Babies
Yeah.
need to eat.
Yeah, look, there are situations where we might come up against a 11-month-old baby that's still nursing in the middle of the night, and like he doesn't need to, he just wants to. And if mom wants to implement gradual wean, that's probably how I would recommend that we handle it, just to minimize crying and frustration on everybody's end. But also, if the pediatrician says just stop feeding him, he doesn't need to eat anymore, we will support. I don't want to say we, because if you don't want to support parents that way, that's fine. You get to run your business the way you run your business.
Right.
But if a mom comes to me and her 11-month-old is still nursing in the middle of the night and the pediatrician's telling the mom he doesn't need to eat anymore, don't feed him anymore, offer him some water, pat on the back to bed, I'm comfortable with that. It doesn't mean that you have to be comfortable with that, but that's the beautiful thing about this business, is that you get to support the families that you want to support. You get to support them the way that you want to support them. And the way that your business will grow is if you really if you really make it clear like what your intentions are and how you like to support families, and then you really connect with the families that are most aligned with your belief system around what sleep should look like for infants and toddlers.
Yeah. And as a that's the other cool thing, as a doula, like we know that about our families and the families that we work with. So yeah. All right. So Alba's wondering if the question doesn't get answered in the Facebook group, is she?
It literally does. It literally does. There's not a single question that goes unanswered. Every single question gets answered by either myself or my two admins, Sue or Selena, literally every single question. It also gets answered by maybe half a dozen other people inside of our community. You're right that there are different points of view that sometimes can create confusion. What I will say is that there's no one way to skin any cat. There are lots of different ways of doing things, and it doesn't mean that one is right and one is wrong. What I will say is that if anybody ever chimes in our Facebook group with bad information, I always course correct. And I always say, I don't know about that. Let's actually wind that back. But actually, most people inside of my community are super smart and they know their stuff because I taught them, and they offer really great advice. And usually by the time I come in to chime in on a thread, all I have to say is there's really great advice on this thread. Great job, guys.
Yeah.
I just validate what everybody else is saying. But yeah, if you ever wanted to email me separately and not post in the Facebook group, you're always welcome to do that. There's also the option to post anonymously. So if you're worried about people knowing that you're the one to ask the question, I still like the questions to be asked in the group because everybody else can learn from your question. So if for some reason you're not comfortable showing up as yourself, you can ask anonymously and we'll chime in, and then everybody can learn from your question.
And I just have to add, I know dozens and dozens of doulas at this point that have gone through your program, that are still in your program. Every single one of them raves about it. Every single one of them was and is supported by you and your team. It's just unlike most other trainings out there of any kind.
That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. A lot of people who have come to take our program, they're really blown away by the community that we've created and the support that's offered. And I truly believe that you're not just paying for an online course. You're not just enrolling in a training. You're really being supported through business development and through personal and professional growth for a lifetime. And to me, that's invaluable. And I want to see all of my students grow and thrive and step outside of their comfort zone and try new things. And we really foster an environment where everybody feels inspired and motivated to do.
I'm trying to think of what else we can say. Anybody else have any other questions for Jayne or me? How long does it take to go through your
Okay.
training?
Yeah, good question. So the course is a combination of reading and video content. So whenever anybody asks me, like, how many hours is the course, that's really a difficult question for me to answer because it's not all video, and people obviously consume written content at varying speeds. I estimate it to be about 50 to 60 hours of coursework, but I can't say for sure. I like to see people complete it in 6 to 8 weeks, I think is a really nice sweet spot. I think if you were to spend an hour a day inside of the course learning, you'd finish in a month or so. But I have people who have finished in, I think, as quick as 9 days was the record. And I also have people who enrolled 3 years ago who never finished. And I think that's just the reality of online courses, is that some people enroll in programs and never complete them. But I like to see people finish in a month or so.
And like you said, some people are coming, I'm just making stuff up. Maybe a doula is joining to learn about 0 to 6 months, or when they're not interested in, like you said, launch doing
Yeah, you know what?
consultation.
I've actually had people enroll in my program and they're less interested in the sleep piece and they're more interested in the business development piece. And they just want a business community of sleep and birth and postpartum professionals to be a part of. So everybody has different motivation and reasons for joining the program. And you're right, some people aren't there to necessarily get the certification. They're there for the community and just to learn.
Yeah. So that is awesome. And like I said, everybody, I just, all the doulas I know who've gone through the program absolutely love it. I highly recommend this training with Jayne, learning from Jayne, and just the support that goes into what she does for everybody. And your Facebook group is just as much about, oh, okay, I'm learning this, I have questions about this, but oh, okay, now I'm working with my first client and here's what's happening. You and the community can help with troubleshooting as you start working. And you know what? I wish there was a doula program. This is a total side rant, but that's what happens to doulas. You train as a doula and then you're out on your own working with clients.
That was my experience when I originally trained as a sleep consultant. And that's why I created CPSM, is because I recognized that there were all these training programs that were teaching sleep, but they weren't teaching you sales, marketing, business growth strategy, mindset work. They weren't teaching you how to grow a successful business. And people who get into birth work or postpartum support or sleep consulting, we are helper people, right? We're empathetic, we're supportive, we're helpful. We don't necessarily have that entrepreneurial muscle that is fully developed and toned. And so I like to take people who are helper people and turn them into badass entrepreneurs, for lack of a better way of saying it.
Someone
Pam's
asked,
asking if you can join the Facebook community without taking the course. You can't. We do have a separate Facebook group. It's called Becoming a Sleep Consultant. You're welcome to
just put
join.
the link.
Is that what you just shared? So we have a Facebook group called Becoming a Sleep Consultant, which is for people who are interested in learning more about the field and learning more about what it looks like to work as a sleep consultant. But if you want the real sauce, you got to join CPSM.
All right, so let's talk about that. Well, I'm putting the link for CPSM. What is the cost for this?
Sure. So the course is $2,700 if you pay in full. We have payment plans that allow you to pay as little as $305 a month for those who really need to budget monthly and aren't in the position to make a single payment. Because Darcy is my favorite, we have a coupon code that I literally just made live 5 seconds before this chat. It's going to be Darcy 250, and that will give you $250 off the price of the course. For those of you who follow me, you're on my email list, maybe you're in the Facebook group, you probably know that I do not put the course on sale very often, just a couple times a year. Darcy's like the only person I give a code to. If you want to enroll on a discount. Use the code Darcy250 to save $250. The code will work on the pay in full option as well as all payment plans except for that 12-month option. The 12-month option, that's $305 a month. The code will not work on that payment plan, but it'll work on all the others. What else did I answer that question?
You did. And here's what I want to say about it. It is a substantial investment. And I was talking with someone about it the other day. Where else can you spend $2,700 and have literally a lifelong career of helping people and earning? That's one thing we didn't talk about is what
income
the earning potential. Yeah.
That's a great point.
This investment pays for itself in no time.
Yeah. So my postpartum doulas who take my course, and for those who don't even necessarily start up virtual consulting businesses, they will raise their rates by $5 an hour right after getting certified. And in one single contract, will make a complete return on investment because of their higher hourly rate. For someone like me who's doing entirely virtual support, I'm not doing any in-home work. Let me just quickly run you through my pricing structure so you understand what is possible. I offer 2 options for support for families. The first option is I do a quick little 30-minute Ask Me Anything call. It's mostly used by former clients it's mostly former clients who book this call. It's 30 minutes and I charge $145 for that call. So pretty good, right? And really nobody bats an eye because they're not paying for my time. They're paying for the solution to their problem, right? So nobody has a problem paying $145 if they know they're going to get the answer to their struggle, right?
They know they're going to sleep through the night.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the first option. The other option is I do a 2-week virtual consultation. They get a written plan. We do a phone call to review. They get my support via text message and audio notes for 2 weeks during the daytime. And I charge $750 for that virtual consultation. I support anywhere from 12 to 15 or 18, maybe 12 to 15 lately, families a month doing virtual consulting. So I make 6 figures just supporting families virtually through sleep. I'm not here to tell you that you're going to have that next week in your business. It takes time to build a name for yourself and to build a clientele, but it's absolutely possible. And the beautiful thing is it can be done from anywhere. Is today Thursday? Thursday. Yes. So tomorrow I am leaving town. My kids go to sleepaway camp for the summer, and tomorrow I leave town. Saturday's visiting day. I am supporting 3 families right now, and I get to take them with me. It doesn't matter that I am going to be traveling on Friday, away on Saturday, home Sunday. It just doesn't matter because I can do my work from anywhere.
Yeah, which is so freeing. And again, for a doula to be able to fit this into the nooks and crannies of doula life is a game changer. And so the coupon code you said is valid till July 31st, right?
Correct. It's through the end of the month.
All right. Cool. Yeah, I think that we've covered everything. And I encourage everybody to join Jayne's free group. It's a great group, Becoming a Sleep Consultant. I put the code in there. I'm sorry, the link in the chat.
Are you okay if I plugged the podcast really quickly?
Oh my God, yes. I knew there was like something else. Yes. Yeah.
So in addition to the free Facebook group, we also have a podcast called Becoming a Sleep Consultant. And what I love about this podcast is it's a really great place for people like you who are not yet enrolled in CPSM to hear the stories of other people who have been through our program. So we have interviewed other birth and postpartum doulas. I've interviewed teachers. I've interviewed stay-at-home moms, all sorts of people who have been through our program. Darcy's been on the podcast a handful of times, and we talk about what it looks like for them to go through the course, what it looks like for them to start their own businesses, how they're finding clients, what their business model looks like. We discuss how to grow a business on social media, how to grow a business off social media. We talk about search engine optimization. So it's all about business building and entrepreneurship. And frankly, even if you decide that you're not interested in becoming a sleep consultant and you want nothing to do with any of this, all of the content on the podcast will be directly related to your business as a doula. So I would recommend just using it as a free resource where you can learn business development strategies just by popping an AirPod into your ear and enjoying the podcast.
Yeah, it's an excellent podcast. I really like it. It's so good. So thank you for bringing that up. Because usually I say, "Oh, go follow her on Instagram," but you're not really active on Instagram. You're
No, I hate social media. I really don't like it. I enjoy connecting with people in real life, and I love the
You
podcast.
do enjoy your Facebook group. Like you're
Yeah, but I don't really I guess that is social media, but I really view my Facebook group as just a place to connect with other people, which I
right.
guess that's probably how you view Instagram, but Instagram gives me the willies. I just don't like it.
Yeah, so
I don't like to create content. Let's put it that way. I'm
yeah,
not big on creating content. I'm big on showing up and connecting with people and talking to them and helping them realize what would be best for them, whether that's me helping them or somebody else and pointing them in the right direction if it's not me. So I just like connecting with people.
I
I
just
don't.
want to highlight something. You said you're earning six figures just with your sleep clients that you're supporting now at this
Yeah.
point in your career. And you
Yeah.
have achieved that without hustling and posting about those services on social media.
Correct. Yeah.
Mic drop. Boom.
Yeah. I
I
actually,
mean, this is why I mean, I talk a lot about doulas getting on that treadmill of taking more trainings because they think it's going to help them get more clients, and it's not. Marketing is. But that it's like that doesn't apply to this sleep training because people are so desperate. New parents are so desperate to get more sleep that they're willing to pay you for your expertise and your knowledge and your support. And when it works, which it will, they spread it like wildfire to their friends because they're so happy. It's like they're high on sleep that they run out.
and to address the issue of desperation, because that's something I'm really trying to work on in the industry, because I do think that parents tend to hire sleep consultants when they're, as you said, desperate or at rock bottom. And I think that's because sleep consulting is new. It's not yet entirely normalized. If you think about, and that means there's so much room for growth, right?
You know
Because
what? It's not even, I don't even think it's that. It's because there's no, pediatricians aren't trained in it. No one's giving, and this is another reason doulas need to be on the forefront of this. No one is helping parents with like basic sleep hygiene education that they need. So you had a baby, like, bye. Good
yeah,
luck
well, if you think
feeding
about
and
it, like all new parents, like pretty much every new parent, like if they're going to try to breastfeed, they hire a lactation consultant, right? Like they don't even bat an eye. It's just they need that type of support. And I think eventually we will be there with sleep as well. We're not there yet. We're like every single parent hires a sleep consultant, but I think it's really no different than lactation support. It is something that parents so desperately need in order to be successful in many circumstances. And the more people who are out there providing this type of support, that normalizes the support for other parents and they start to hire sleep consultants. I'm sure some of you have seen that if you've been in doula work for the past 5 or 10 years, you're probably seeing that more families are now hiring doulas because if your friend hired a doula, then you want to hire a doula, right? And when your friend is thriving because they have this type of support and you want to thrive, then you're going to hire that type of support. And I think that is what is also happening with sleep consulting. But to be on the forefront of that tipping point is really exciting.
Yeah. Absolutely. And doulas, we love to educate. So it's just another way we can educate our clients, our parents about all the good things. All right, I've got to jump off and do another call. But thank you, Jayne, so much. I love you. I love your program. I love that we both are so passionate about sleep.
Since I
And
just went to the Taylor Swift concert, I'm going to do this. Love you back.
that way you went to Italy.
It's not why I went to Italy, but two birds.
Love it. Oh my God, that's so cool. So I just went to Dave Matthews 2 nights in a row. I'm exhausted. So all morning I've been like, sleep is so important. I'm a little off my game today because I didn't get my sleep. That is why I will never stop talking about this. So thanks for coming. Everybody go join Jayne's group, reach out to her with questions. Go to thecpsm.com, use the Darcy 250 coupon code and grow. Awesome. Thank you, Jayne. Thanks everyone.
Thank you, Darcy. Thanks for having me.